What's up guys, today I'm gonna show you how to do this nice hamburger menu animation. We're gonna be using Next.js, frame of motion, and Tailwind CSS. We're gonna jump right into the browser. So we have a basic navigation over here, and we're gonna have a button over there. So in the code, we have a navigation with a mobile menu, and inside of it, we have a button. So first of all, what we want to do is to have, when we click the button, is going to be the first thing. So I like to put my states outside of where it lives. I'd like to be the navigation doing all the work. So we're going to be like that: client, component, use states, and here we pass our on click and there is open like that. So we're going to be adding those props. So is open and on click, pass the on click, and console.log is open, and here we're gonna need to put toSpan. So now we're building the hamburger part like so. So why I don't put div? Because I think div is more for layout wrapper than basically aesthetic stuff. So the issue with span is that we can't put our width and height, so we need to display block for that. And our height, and we're gonna be using a background and foreground. And this is the same, but the width is smaller. So now we should have that. And if we click on it, we should see something happening. So yeah, it works for that. So now we need 2 items at the end. We need to put a gap, so we're gonna be using a flex box. And that's it for the button, the hamburger. So as we said we're gonna be using a flex like that. We may want to have this, and we said item ends, and we might want to justify center, just in case it's not fully centered. So now it's good, and we want our cursor to be a pointer. So now we're good for the hamburger parts. Time for the close button. Same thing over here. We can literally take this line and paste it here. Yep. The issue with it is we're gonna put it absolute, but we need to rotate based on the left origin. So let me show you what I mean. And we're gonna put it rotate 45. See, so now it's rotating based on the left corner and not based on the center. So if I put left over there too, this is gonna go there. Let me show you. So if we put it back to center, this is gonna rotate based on the center and do what we want. And it's not working. So what we need to do is put a div wrapper. And why we want to origin left is to have our animation starting on the left and ending on the right. And for the hamburger, it's gonna be starting at the left and ending at the right. But the right is the end. So when the hamburger menu come back, it's gonna go from right to left. So it's gonna be origin right. So let's not forget it there on both places like that. So I said the outer div, and how you do. Like that, okay. And this basically takes the absolute position. It also takes the rotation, because this one is not based on the origin, it's on the origin center, so we can rotate it fine. Like that. And we remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this space, and this left. Okay, this works perfect. And we also gonna have a style. to have our scales transform. That's not right. Transform. It's going to be a scale x on 0. So by default, we want to hide this. And why we're using scales at the place of width? Scale is basically better for animation, so it's already optimized, GPU optimized for that. So that's why I'm not using the width. Now this should be hide. Perfect. Now we want to change the states. When we want open, we show the next one. So I like to put my logic outside of it with a custom hook animation, and we will be using variant, not variant, sequence. And this is going to take the scope. Let me explain where we're going with that. So what we could do is put our animation basically inside of it, and without sequence it will work fine. So basically based on the states is open, we choose the variants we want, open or close, this will work. But since this is a pretty complex timeline, we're going to be using a sequence. So now let's create this file, use Hamburger animation.ts. We're going to be creating our hook. Can you help me write this faster? All right. It doesn't help me for the basic stuff. And we're going to be importing use animate from motion.react like that. Okay. So now we're good. We only return the scope since we animate everything inside the hook itself. And now we're ready to animate. So we need to put a class. So how it works is with the animate, we're gonna choose the class we want to animate. So this is gonna be Hamburger line 1, line 2. This is gonna be X line 1, and this is gonna be X line 2. And now we need to pass the props, I guess, is open like that. So the is open is going to be used in our use effect right here. Yeah. So based on the change, whoops, not this. Based on the change, type of boolean is not assigned to type of boolean. Okay, since we're not passing an object, we're just going to do boolean like that. All right. Okay. So if it is open, we're gonna show our sequence to open. So animate, so it look, we pass the sequence and options. And yeah, so, and else if it's not open, we're gonna display our closing sequence. So this is array, and all our sequence are array too. So to start off, when we click, we want those lines to fade from left to right at the same time, and we want it to start fast and end slowly. So it's really simple. You pass this Hamburger line 1. Here we're gonna pass what we're doing. We're gonna use the scale to 0, and we're also gonna put our duration, which is gonna be 0.35, and that's it for this one. We're already into the next one, line 2. We're gonna put our scales x to 1 and same duration, but we want it to start at the same time of a previous one. So without this, it will basically be, let me fix the type here. This is an animation sequence from framer motion. Whoops, this is not what I want. Okay. Yeah. This needs to be a valid. For now, it's gonna be this. Am I forgetting? Yeah, this needs to be, oh, the scope is not done. Is that why? Yeah. Okay, this was the issue. And now you see it's starting right away. And the issue with that is that when it's mounting, the animation is starting right away, which is kinda confusing because it is false by default. Oh, so yeah, this is the reason why. Wait. Yeah, like that. Okay, perfect. So now it's animates. We click animate, perfect, and this should be 0. Sorry, but now it's gonna be one after the other, and this is not what we want. So this is why we put at, as I said, so this run at the same time of the previous one. Boom, like that. So now we're gonna use an ease. I said we want to start fast and cut slowly, and I want it to be really sharp. So this is gonna be what we're gonna be using for all the animation we're gonna be having here. Look, right away, looks good. Now we're gonna pass into the X line 1. Never forget the dot to say it's a class, because if you don't put it, nothing gonna work. So over here, we're gonna be scaling X on 1, and we're gonna be, this is false, this is gonna be shorter because I feel like the X is a bit smaller. I want it to be very fast, and this is not gonna run at the same time. It's gonna run 0.2 seconds later than the one here. So look, looks perfect. I think we are done with the first part. All right, this looks really good in my end. Maybe this is too big for me. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, so this is good for the first sequence. Now we're just doing what we need to do back. So it's gonna be X line 1. We want this to scale X to 0. And we want this to like that. We want this one to be at the same time though. So we just put this. All right, looks good to me. The time is good too. And we put our hamburger back. Hamburger line, we pass this. So we're gonna have a bit of delay between. So this is fine to me, and this line's gonna run at the same time of the previous one. So like this, clack. This does the job for me. So this is really a simple animation, but I think it stands out from the boring hamburger menu that we usually see on most websites. So if you like this type of video, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.